And now, breaking news from your hometown station, WDBJ7.
Good evening, I'm Jean Jadhun.
And I'm Chris Hurst. First tonight, an update to that breaking news we first brought you at 5. A plane makes an emergency landing at the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport.
WDBJ7 Shane Dwyer is there. Shane, do we know yet where this plane was headed?
Yes, Jean and Chris, it was left at Teterboro, New Jersey earlier today, headed toward Meridian, Mississippi. It ended up here at the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport, however, after making and declaring an emergency landing, calling the tower about 3 minutes out, saying they needed to bring the airplane down to the airport. It landed here at the airport with no problems after declaring that emergency, and everyone on board is safe. Airport fire crews escorted the plane toward the ramp area as a precaution. We're told the plane lost oil pressure, which caused an engine to shut down. That led to a loss of cabin pressure. The plane has 2 pilots and 8 passenger seats on board, although we don't know how many people were actually on the plane. I just got off the phone with the airport, and they say that the pilot has told the operations crew that the plane was just recently overhauled, and after looking at the plane on the ground, it appears they lost their oil cap, which then led to the oil pressure going way down below where it should be, which then led into everything else. So, Chris, something as small as a cap can cause a huge problem, but thankfully here at the airport, everything is safe. No runway shut down. Flights continue to go in and out. And, as they continue on, they're very lucky that it happened. And the airport says that this is the best possible case scenario for this kind of event.
Yeah, scary for a time. Glad to see everyone safe. Have a couple of visitors to our area. Shane, thanks for that update. Right now, Virginia State Police are still trying to figure out why a man drove his car into a crowd of people at the Martinsville Speedway. The man behind the wheel, Gary Edom, is charged with reckless driving. So we asked state police about a motive. We still don't know yet about why he may have done that. WDBJ7's Danielle Staub learned a little bit more about that in court documents today. Danielle, though state police didn't tell you anything, but that they also haven't ruled anything out.
No, Chris, they haven't, because, and I asked them this because these documents indicated a witness heard Edom say something before he drove his car into the crowd. Gary Edom hit 22 people in a crowded parking lot Sunday evening after the NASCAR race at the Martinsville Speedway. A criminal complaint filed by a state trooper says that Edom told him his foot slipped off the brake and hit the gas. But a witness told police he heard Edom yell a curse word and then hit the gas. That witness then took the keys out of the vehicle and held Edom in custody until police got there and arrested and charged him with reckless driving. Edom is out on bond. Now, Virginia State Police say this case is still very much under investigation. They have not determined an exact motive. Chris.
All right. Thank you, though, for that update. Trying to get a little bit more clarity on how that all happened. Danielle, thanks.
A Lynchburg firefighter who was called to help with a car accident ended up in police custody over the weekend. Josh Matta was arrested Sunday and charged with driving an emergency vehicle while under the influence of alcohol. WDBJ7's Tim Saunders is live at the Brookville Timberlake Fire Department in Campbell County, where Matta is a volunteer. Tim, we understand he had been operating one of the department's vehicles when he was arrested.
That's right, Jean. Matta is a first captain at this department. I've spoken to people with direct knowledge of the situation who say that last weekend Matta was volunteering with Brookville Timberlake when he was called to an accident just a few miles away in Bedford County. While he was at the scene of that accident, a police officer gave Matta a breathalyzer test. According to his arrest record on the Blue Ridge Regional Jail website, Matta's blood alcohol level registered between 0.08 and 0.14, which is above the legal limit to drive a vehicle in Virginia. He was charged with the first offense of driving under the influence. In addition to volunteering with the Brookville Timberlake Fire Department, Matta is also an employee of the Lynchburg Fire Department. A source I spoke with at that department confirmed that Matta was not on duty with the Lynchburg Fire Department on Sunday. Our attempts to reach anyone here at the Brookville Timberlake Fire Department have been unsuccessful. We've stopped by the department. We've also made several calls. No one has gotten back to us. Jean, Matta is out of jail tonight on a $1,000 bond. His court date has not been scheduled yet.
All right, Tim, you'll keep us up to date on that. Thanks.
The Colonial Pipeline explosion in Alabama will almost certainly impact your wallet at the pump soon, but how could an incident so far away cause issues for us? To answer that question, here's WDBJ7's Eamon O'Mara. Eamon, a professor at Radford University, is telling you it's because of how much gas that pipeline is responsible for.
Exactly, Chris. She tells me the Colonial Pipeline is responsible for 40% of all petroleum up the East Coast. And with one of their pipelines down again, they're not going to be able to get as much gas out, which would mean less revenue unless they raise their prices. For the second time in just as many months, a Colonial Pipeline in Alabama isn't running following an explosion on Monday.
I think it'll be probably a very similar situation in terms of the capacity lost in the supply chain. We can hope it's not any worse, right?
In September, following another pipeline issue, some areas in Virginia saw gas prices rise 30 to 40 cents per gallon. Now, we may have to prepare for that again.
I get pretty good gas mileage, and my wife's car gets pretty good gas mileage too, but yeah, I think it'll be all right. We all have to be willing to sacrifice a little bit to help others out.
The reason, Beanstalk tells me, is there aren't many backup plans for transporting all that gas. One option could be using the rest of Colonial's network of pipelines.
I'm sure they do have quite a few other pipelines. Maybe some of them are carrying diesel, and if the demand for gasoline is larger, they'll probably rededicate those pipelines and put gas through them, at least temporarily.
Other plans would be trucks, trains, or ships from the Gulf. But can they really be used?
It's mainly a matter of capacity. 18-wheeler tankers, that's a possibility, but those probably already have jobs. So the rail cars, again, same thing.
Now, Beanstalk couldn't predict if or when we'll see the gas prices rise, but it hasn't happened yet. We checked with AAA about average prices in Virginia. Chris, we're actually 1 cent lower today than yesterday and 4 cents lower per gallon than this time last month.
We'll see if it trickles up later on the rest of this week and in the coming weeks. Eamon, thanks. Christiansburg police are telling us now that report of a needle found in a teenager's Halloween candy is false. Police first took her candy after her parents called law enforcement to report the needle. They tell us, though, after talking with her again this morning, they say the incident never really happened that way. The 13-year-old, though, will not face any charges. We were talking about averages at the gas pumps. What about averages outside? The weather, as expected, very warm tonight. In fact, warm enough to change the record books in several locations. Here's Robin. Isn't that interesting? The averages have just been so warm here recently, and in fact, we really haven't had a big fall burst just yet. So we were watching the record books today. Roanoke needed to get to 82, Lynchburg needed to get to 83, and Danville at 85. Lo and behold, Roanoke sets the record, the actual high temperature up around 83 degrees. Lynchburg ties it at 83, so it does go on the record as a new date. Danville missed it by a couple of degrees, and Blacksburg only off by 1 degree there. You can see at the moment it's still very warm at the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport, sitting at 82 degrees, and that humidity level is very low as well. And the key component to all this is that westerly wind. With that strong westerly wind, that really just pushes the air our way that is coming from such a warm source. Happens again tomorrow, not quite as warm, but mid to upper 70s are expected by the afternoon. And then we'll start watching for a possibility of some showers coming up in the forecast. We'll examine that in a little bit more detail when we come back. Sounds good. Thank you, Robin. Virginia voters will have more than presidential politics and congressional campaigns on the ballot next week. They will also consider 2 proposed amendments to the state constitution. Joe DeShiel reports one of them is generating strong debate. Joe.
Well, Gene, we're talking about ballot question number 1 that deals with Virginia's right to work law. And that means here in Virginia, workers cannot be compelled to join a union as a condition of their employment. Virginia's right to work law has been a staple of state government for almost 70 years. But now conservative lawmakers and Virginia business leaders want to make it part of the state constitution. Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce President Joyce Waugh says it would reinforce that Virginia is a business-friendly state.
The strong business climate is so important, and this really makes a statement on that front, that we are open for business and that we want business to grow here. We want the investment and jobs that come with that.
Virginia's labor unions see it differently, and they're working hard to defeat the Right to Work Amendment.
We do not believe that the so-called Right to Work law is beneficial for Virginia's working families. It keeps corporate interests powerful, it keeps unions weak, union membership low, and that's not helpful to Virginia workers.
There's also a second constitutional question that would give localities the option of giving a tax break to the surviving spouse of a police officer or first responder who's killed in the line of duty. But Gene, that question is not generating the same kind of controversy as ballot question number 1.
Okay, 2 questions for all of us to vote on come Election Day. Joe DeShiel, thank you.
For the first time since the National D-Day Memorial opened 15 years ago, a new permanent building is being constructed at the site. A groundbreaking ceremony was held this afternoon for what will eventually be a new gift shop and visitor center. The building will replace a trailer that was only meant to serve as a temporary gift shop when the memorial opened in 2001.
This is just one of many projects that we have planned for the next 20 years, and so to be able to kick that off today is just, something that everybody's thrilled about.
The new building will be shaped like a Quonset hut, which were common on military bases during World War II. Memorial leaders say the structure will enhance the story you get when you visit the site.
All right, we'll have to go check that out. Coming up next, right here on your hometown station, it's a nice night to go to a drive-in movie. You usually can't see one during the week, but that is changing tonight. We'll tell you why.
And how some deputies are wearing their support for men's health this month.
The Halls Drive-In in Lexington is usually just open on weekends, but there's a special show tonight. Black Hawk Down is being shown. It's to raise money for the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. The movie's free, but students with the Washington and Lee Veterans Advocates Association are collecting donations.
I think it's a great opportunity to support a good cause in the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, which is a 4-star rated charity and goes a long way to help the families of fallen Special Operations service members by providing college education for their children.
Gates opened at 5. The VMI band is performing right now before the screening begins at 6:30.
We're at the beginning of a new month, and many people may start noticing some men who are a little scruffy, or at least more of them. Some men during the month of November grow out their facial hair for Men's Health Awareness. And for the first time at the Roanoke County Sheriff's Office, men are being allowed to sport beards. But it's for a different cause. They're raising money for Special Olympics.
Currently there's, I believe, 27 members of the Sheriff's Office that have contributed in 2 days. And I think we've raised around $1,500.
Women can get in on the fun too. They're able to dye their hair and paint their nails crazy colors at the Sheriff's Office if they donate to the cause. All, in good fun.
All in good fun. Maybe I'll go some purple streaks.
You should do that.
I should do that.
I don't know what I can really grow. This is about 6 days already.
That is.
This is all I get. Takes me a while.
The 5-day shadow instead of the 5 o'clock shadow.
Precisely. Exactly.
All right, what are the fall temperatures going to return this week? Here's Robin Reed. It won't be long, you say.
Let's get to the weekend. Maybe by then Chris will be a little bit more, well, anyway, here are the numbers today. 83 was the top number at the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport, as we indicated to you before. That was a record, tied the record in Lynchburg. Morning lows were in the 50s. Tomorrow won't be quite as warm, but it's still going to be about 10 to 15 degrees above normal. So we had that cold air, cloudy wedge first thing this morning. We needed for it to break, and by lunchtime it did. Blue skies followed, warm temperatures after that, and then just a little fair weather cumulus drifting by from time to time. Overall, this is really kind of a special day, but it certainly is about 20 degrees above what you might expect for this time of year. Some of the trees are showing a little bit more of their fall color right now. 72 in Lynchburg, 74 at Smith Mountain Lake, 73 in Danville and in Martinsville. But it's warmer still in Charlottesville at 80, Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport at 80, and it's 72 right now in Wytheville. So here's what we've got coming up for you. This is tomorrow's cold front starting to move a little bit closer. Temperatures are still running in the upper 70s out ahead of the boundary, which means the winds will be coming up out of the south. And you can see there's a chance for some showers. They're going to occur very late in the day. I'll time that out for you here in just a second. After that, it turns breezy, and it's a cooler breeze coming in from the Great Lakes, and that will allow temperatures to be a little bit more seasonal. But right now, it's all about the placement of that jet stream, the boundary as well, and then the strong southwesterly push. This is covering everything from northern Virginia all the way down to Houston. We're all in this same air mass, but once this boundary has a chance to dive down a little bit, we can certainly change over pretty quickly into something a little cooler. It'll still be fairly dry. The front does not appear to want to bring a whole bunch of rain showers our way. I know they're watching that pretty closely in Cleveland tonight because there are showers that are inbound. The feeling is that for much of the game it will be dry and warm, but it's worth watching to see if some rain should slide their way. All right, here's the forecast for you coming up for tonight. We are partly cloudy and mild. Overnight lows in the mid-50s in the most part. 53 Marion, around 50 in Lewisburg. Covington, Clifton Forge around 52 degrees. Here is the hour-by-hour watch. A few clouds in the morning. Watch the boundary on the move, and as it slides down by 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, we should start to develop at least a chance for a quick hitter shower. The probability is on that ranging anywhere from 40 to 60%. It's not going to last long, but we certainly do need a shower or two. Then we'll find the temperatures running in the mid to upper 70s to around 80 degrees in Danville, South Boston, around 79 in Lynchburg. Color in the mountains as the leaves start to change. Partly sunny Friday. Saturday is mostly sunny with highs in the mid 60s. Your Sunday, we're getting a little more sleep. Mostly sunny on Monday. Tuesday is election day. Wednesday, partly cloudy. As you can see, the weather's pretty stable. Highs in the mid 60s. Overnight lows in the upper 30s to the lower 40s.
Virginia Tech is on the road again this weekend to take on Duke. We will hear from the Blue Devils about what they're expecting against that high-powered Hokies offense coming up next in sports.
Sports from your hometown station, WDBJ7.
Back-to-back Thursday night wins for the Hokies has kept them in the polls and in the hunt in the ACC Coastal Division. On Saturday, Virginia Tech travels to Duke to take on a Blue Devils team that is 3-5 overall and winless in conference play. While Duke may hold the recent advantage in the series, having won 2 of the last 3 meetings against Tech, the Hokies have had a lot of success playing in Durham. The last time Tech lost on the Blue Devils' home turf was back in 1981. And this year, Coach Cutcliffe knows they will have their work cut out for themselves against the Hokies' dangerous offense led by Gerard Evans.
He's a really big, strong guy. You know, he's playing at a high level. He's extremely well coached as a first-year starter. He can run it. He can throw it. He's got a really strong arm. And then when you have Bucky Hodges and Isaiah Ford and that group, those two are enough to keep you up all night. I think I spent one night sleepless on Hodge and one night sleepless on Ford. So that's kind of where I am right now. And they're really good, and they can run the football. So Virginia Tech's very difficult to defend. You look at the numbers, look at what they've done, and you see that.
The biggest college football game at the FCS level this weekend will be played right here in the Commonwealth as Richmond hosts James Madison in a top 10 showdown and battle for the top of the CAA. In the FCS coaches poll, the 7-1 Spiders are ranked 6th, while the 7-1 Dukes are ranked 5th. Last year, Richmond went to Harrisonburg and upset the 3rd-ranked Dukes 59-49 in front of their record-breaking homecoming crowd and a national spotlight with ESPN's College Game Day there. This time around, James Madison is once again undefeated in the CAA, while Richmond has 1 loss in conference play. Last year's meeting was a major boost to the Spiders' season behind a whopping 720 total yards of offense.
Winning up there on that stage gave us confidence to move forward and almost create a new normal, a new expectation for what we're capable of doing. I think early on we kind of started to recognize that that game was going to offer a lot of yardage, a lot of big plays. Both offenses were really in rhythm. But I did say earlier today that I thought, you know, it was a little bit of an outlier, that score, that game. I think if you played it 10 times, I don't think it would be that high in the other 8 or 9. So I certainly expect both offenses to move the ball and be productive and put points on the board. I don't anticipate it being that similar to a year ago.
So we'll see. We know JMU can put up some points. They put up more than 80 points twice this season.
Yeah. Wow,
that's 80.
It's tough for them to do that against Richmond.
Yeah.
Though. It's a stiff competition.
It will be a
We'll
close
see,
one,
though.
hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Oh, it's my turn to read. Wall Street down for the 2nd day in a row. How about that? The Dow down about 75, NASDAQ down about 48, S&P down about 14.
I know this lady to my left loves this warm weather.
Love every
She's
second
loving
of
it. So Robin, another
She's my
one?
friend until Friday. After
Yes.
that, all bets are on. But up until then, she's my friend. That's all good. Yeah, because the 7-day gives us that leading edge warmth, and then kind of just returns us to normal. It's not huge, but you know, we're back in the 40s for lows and 60s for highs. And if you're observant tonight and you find the moon this evening in the southwest, look at those two bright objects right below it. One is Venus, one is Saturn, and it's putting on a pretty good show this evening. With the clear skies, I think we'll have a good viewing tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very nice.
That sounds good.
What a wonderful evening. Thanks for spending some of it with us. We appreciate it. We'll see you tonight, later on at 11.